nester. And ironically, they're still, home. But I was afraid of that for a while because I was like, what do I do? Most parents are like, oh, I'm going to go out and party. I'm going to go. For me, it's just like, I felt like I was way too young. Now I have a grandbaby in the house. So, yeah, it's a little full.
That's right.
But I don't know what I would have done as an empty nester. I don't know what I would have done as an empty nester. So we're not raised in a house like that. Like even for my mom, if we're all at her house in Delaware, it's all of us. We're all in the house.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, we don't know the feeling. So when people ask me, I don't know what they're talking about. I'm working hard. I feel like we have a baby in the house, because, like every 2 hours, she want us to play with her, take her out. She want a snack. Mm-hmm. She'd bark at me because I got the door closed, but she'd bark. So right now, I think my wife is taking care because she know we're on the air right now. But yeah, and good that Peggy's here to tell us, all about, I guess, she probably going to put her spin on the pets, but they have their own personalities, they're their own selves. Yeah. Incredible. Might have to get another dog, keep her company. I had a pet.
And I had a pet, oh my God, years ago. His name was Nemo. And we used to dress him up. And I think the only thing he was missing was like a new pair of Air One sneakers.
I know. The things we do to our pets.
Very, 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 he was a very conceited dog.
Yeah, they something else, man.
Like he knew that he was the best dressed out of everybody out of all the dogs in the neighborhood.
He was jazzy. Yeah, they can take you through your change. I've been actually walking 2.5 miles since I've been in charge of taking her out. Man, my wife lost weight. Yeah, something coming out. I got to get new pajamas and everything. So, so I can, because I can't fit all my big boy pants. We walking it off.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, we ready to talk to our special guest, Miss Peggy. I guess Miss Peggy's last name is Frezon. I want to say Frezon, but I'm sure she's going to tell us something else. But we'll find out. Let's bring her out and talk to her. What's up, Miss Peggy? How you doing? Welcome.
Hey, good evening. And guess what? You got it absolutely correct. Frezon.
Awesome. All right, I got it right. I've been doing pretty well lately with difficult names. But Miss Peggy, we're so happy to have you on the show, and I enjoyed talking to you when we had a chance to have a teleconference call. Find out all you do, and you get a chance to find out what we all do. And of course, Shay is here to find out even more what you do, because I know you do a whole lot. You got a tight schedule all the time, and it looks like you're busy with your animals and everything. So you guys have a great show, and I'm right here if you need me. Amen.
Thank you
for having me.
Thank you. Well, welcome to the Jerry Royce Live Late Night Show with your co-host, Shay Samuels. I am excited to just be on the line tonight with someone, an author, not the type of authors that we're used to. So this is why this is really interesting to me. And I'm excited to get to know more about this young lady. But Miss Peggy Frezon is on the line with us tonight. And so I'm going to first ask her to introduce herself and a little bit of what she wants all of the listeners tonight to know about her. So, Miss Peggy.
Well, thank you, Shay. Yes, thank you. I just, as you guys were discussing before, I just love animals and I love dogs. And I've been a writer for Guideposts magazine, which maybe many of your listeners know is inspirational true stories. And I've been doing that for about 15, 20 years now. And we came out with a new Guidepost sister magazine called All Creatures. And I'm contributing editor to that. And I just love it because I get to combine my interest in writing stories that will inspire and point people towards God and help them with their faith, as well as combined with animal stories and how animals can help point us towards God. And it just, I'm always finding stories and people to interview and to learn more about different animals and the way that they help people and people help animals. So that's mostly what I've been doing. And I also have several books about the human-animal bond, just about the same sort of way as animals help us. And this one, my most recent one, The Dog in the Dentist Chair, is my first book for kids to help kids learn about how animals can help them and also to be inspired by the wonderful animals around us.
How did you come up with the title, The Dog in the Dentist Chair?
Well, it's actually a real dog. All the stories in the book are true animals, real animals who work with kids. And I had written a book called Faithfully Yours, about a book for adults about the bond between us and animals and different ways that animals help people. And I thought it would be really nice to have sort of a version of that book for children so that children could see how animals help them. And I was doing some research trying to see what different types of animals I could find. And I found this dog. Her name is Jojo, and she's a golden retriever. And the thing I like best about her is most every child has to go to the dentist at least once or twice a year.
Yes.
And it's a common thing. And some kids are fine with it, but some kids are anxious about it. I know I'm anxious about it myself. I'm not a big fan. So I think that really helped me to relate to how the kids might be feeling. And when they go to the dentist, the dog just climbs up in the dentist chair and sits with them, and they can pat her, and it helps keep them calm and takes their attention off of whatever the dentist is doing. It makes them relax, and also sometimes just the weight of her paw on their lap or on their arm can help keep them from wiggling around. And it's so much, it's just a nice, natural way to help calm the kids. And so that's how I came up with the title, and I said, now I need to find a lot more animals who help kids. And how many different ways can these animals, and how many different types besides just dogs and cats, what other types of animals can I find?
Well, I think it's amazing because you're really stepping outside the box of typical therapy, and a lot of people don't understand. I used to work with dentists for 5 years, and I know that, like you said, a lot of the children, even today, they have a special need, and so there are a lot more dentists who require special needs equipment in order to deal with the kids. And insurance companies have made it so hard where before you can actually put the kids to sleep or you can provide some type of anesthesia for them to kind of calm themselves down. But because it was given so much that they put like a restriction on it. So I think it would be a great idea to start looking at a therapeutic aspect or a calming aspect of it by bringing pets inside of the kids' health centers and the dentist offices, of course. And so do you do anything more outside of the books to kind of advocate those type of treatment centers or within those treatment centers?
Well, I don't within a dentist. This dog, she goes to dentists and other things, but we do have, we rescue dogs that are homeless, and if they seem like they'd be a good fit, we train them to be therapy dogs. And right now I have with me Ernest, who is our 12-year-old golden retriever, and he does therapy dog work. He goes into nursing homes, and he goes to a first grade class, and he goes to colleges where the kids are 2 times, either when for freshmen when they're on their first day away from home and they're anxious or homesick. They help give them some comfort and stress relief, and they also go at exam time and help the kids during exams to relax and calm down and get their mind clear.
Did you hear that, Jerry? Jerry's talking about Mimi, and she's getting up. They can also be therapeutic. So
actually, a scientific study has shown that just patting a dog can lower your blood pressure and many other benefits. So whenever I feel stressed, I know that I curl up in what I call it my big green prayer chair, because I have a big oversized chair that I can fit in, and my dog can sit beside me, and I just curl up in the chair and pat the dog, and it really just helps lower my blood pressure, get me feeling relaxed.
And, there's another thing, too, with animals, because when they become fond of who you are, they know who you are emotionally as well. So when you're down, they can feel that. When you're happy, their energy matches our energy as well. Isn't that correct?
It is so true in our pets and in therapy dogs and in many different ways. As therapy dogs, I know many therapy dogs because, unfortunately, my husband had been very ill and been in the hospital a lot. So we met a lot of different therapy dogs, and some of them would come in, and their handler would say, go sit here, do this, and they'd do it. But there were some dogs who just had a sense of what they were doing, and they felt like who needed them and what they needed. And actually what got me started with therapy dogs was one of the times when my husband was in the hospital room and very ill, and this big Bernese mountain dog came in, beautiful big dog. And usually they go up to the patient and give them comfort, but this dog came right up to me and sat on top of my feet and just stared at me. And he knew that I was the one that needed the comfort that moment.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And his
amazing.
name was Gabriel, and he wore a little cross on his collar. And I always felt like he certainly was an angel.
That is amazing. So I was actually on the airplane. I'm on the airport, well, not during the pandemic, but before the pandemic, I probably flew out of Georgia maybe twice, sometimes in a week. But I was coming back from Philadelphia, and I met a dog. No, I was coming back from Baltimore, and I met a man. And here's how funny this is, because I was the last person on, and I believe it was designed this way because I was the first person at the airport, and that meant I should have been the first person on the plane, but I was at the wrong terminal. So when I got to the right terminal, they were actually calling my name, and I was the last person on the plane, which means that I get the last and the most unwanted seat by a dog. And so this is how God blesses us, though, because so many people strayed away from that back seat, the very, very back seat. It's by the bathroom, and then there's a dog in the seat with the owner. and so I sat next to the dog, and I'm friendly. The owner is friendly, and I know that every now and then he tends to listen. So, Peter Flesh, if you're listening, shout out to you. But he was on the plane, and they were flying to Georgia. And so when I said, what's the story with the dog? Because the dog had goggles on and a scarf. And I said, what's the story with your little man? And he said, well, his name is Slater, therapeutic dog. He said, we fly into Georgia and we go to the Children's Hospital. And he actually, he's treatment for the kids. And not only does he do that, but he also works with the PGA Tours. And he said he found that although PGA sponsors this little man, I call Slater the little man, although the PGA Tour sponsors Slater, he found that although they were older men, they were also getting therapy from Slater.
Right, absolutely.
And it amazed me because here are, these are men and women that we see in the limelight. They're out there in the field golfing. They're probably making millions of dollars, getting all these endorsements. And nobody tends to care for the emotional well-being. And
right.
The dog comes up and Slater comes up, and Slater is the highlight. They're out there doing what they love to do, Miss Peggy. And Slater is the highlight, the thing that makes them smile, the thing that makes their day, the very thing that after everyone's done, that they're really focused on. So how important is it for us to even think about pets in the home? I know we're talking about service dogs, and animals, service animals, but how important would you say it is to have at least one pet in the home?
Well, First, let me say the animals we're speaking of are therapy animals, which a lot of people get that confused because service animals and therapy animals are different. Service animals are an animal. It's only dogs and horses can be service animals who are trained to work with their handler, and such as a guide dog for the blind, or there are dogs who help children with autism or seizure alert dogs, things like that. So dogs who go to schools and other places to make people relaxed and happy are therapy dogs. So there's a lot of people stumble over that because, like therapy dogs are not allowed in every public building unless they happen to be working there, whereas a service dog is. So there's some differences. But to answer your question also, if the house, I wouldn't say a pet in every household unless everyone in the household was aware, willing, and knows that they want that pet there. Because if there's somebody there who really doesn't like the animal, and they can make the situation a lot worse. But for children to have the responsibility of a pet and to have the compassion a pet can give them, the unconditional love that a pet can give them, so many times it can be so good for them. They can learn to help with the chores, and they can learn the training. And also there is other health benefits. Children who have grown up in a household with a cat or a dog tend to have, believe it or not, fewer allergies than other children.
Wow.
So there are many benefits.
Wow. I didn't know that. I would have thought it was
right,
the opposite. Wow.
Like that.
Well, I appreciate you giving us the definition or just more clarification on the differences between the service dog and the therapeutic dog. So where would one even start to look, after they hear this broadcast and they realize maybe, this is one, I guess, let me back up because we talked about it being a service dog versus a therapeutic dog, and a therapeutic dog or any animal being in the home. But what ages would you say, even in the home, that someone could even start looking at the therapeutic animal?
Well, I always, of course, would recommend to everybody to look for a rescue dog, a dog who is homeless, has been either surrendered by their previous owner or has for some reason lost their owner because the owner has passed away or some other reason. There's so many dogs that are needing a home, and it's a great place to look. And another great benefit of that is the staff of the rescue groups and many animal shelters are trained and knowledgeable about matching you up with the right dog or cat for the family, for your needs, for your lifestyle, and for your commitment. But many people don't take into account that it's a lifetime commitment, and some dogs can live for 20 years and cats even longer. So you can't just say, well, this dog is old and I'm not that interested in it anymore. It's a member of the family, so they need to be aware of that. If they're looking for just a pet, there's that. And if they want to do therapy dog work with the dog, you'd be looking for a dog with certain temperament, a dog who is calm, a dog who is not aggressive but not too shy, a dog who loves people, loves to be patted, loves to be touched, and a dog who is willing to please and wants to learn, because you'll need to go through training classes and learn what you need to know so that you can be certified as a therapy dog. They then will go through a test and you will get certified.
Okay. So the person, and that was my next question, so the person would have to be certified and go through training with the pet?
Right. You're certified as a team. The handler, they call it, and the dog. And you're a team. You have to pass the test together. And because you'll be going out as a team. So the dog has certain requirements they have to pass. The person also, has to be healthy and physically able to handle and manage the dog in public. The dog has to not pull or want to jump up on people, especially if they're going into a hospital setting.
Yes.
And not get overexcited. And there's certain things such as they have to learn to leave any food or medication that they might see laying around. They're not to touch it because that, of course, could be dangerous for the dog. And the person has to, have a good attitude and different. So there are different requirements like that. It's a usually about 6 or 8 weeks of training after the dog knows its basic training, such as sit and stay. And then you can usually pass the test. If it doesn't work out, we can just try it again later.
Now, I could be wrong, and I could have heard Peter incorrectly, but is there a certain weight limit or certain therapeutic, I guess it would be a weight limit, especially for dogs. Do you know of for dogs to become therapeutic?
No, there's no, okay. It does not have to be a purebred dog. It doesn't have to be, it can be a little Chihuahua, it can be a Pit Bull, it can be a big St. Bernard, any breed, any type, any mixed breed. The most important thing is temperament.
Okay. If you guys are just tuning in, we are speaking with Miss Peggy. Now I'm going to say it wrong. Frezon. Is that right?
No.
Miss Peggy?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Miss Peggy Frezon. And we're speaking about therapeutic dogs. We're going to talk about her book just in a little bit, but just in case you're tuning in, we're talking about the therapeutic aspects of animals and how important it is for us to know that animals can be therapeutic. We learned something tonight that if you just stroke your dog, just stroking, can it be a cat too?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,
or a bunny. So just
bunny or bunny. Anything.
Yeah. Is it the fur that does that? Is it the fur that kind of?
Not just the fur. It's the actual. I'll say the bond, the interaction. It's not like just patting a piece of soft fabric. This animal responds to you. A cat will purr. The dog will snuggle up against you. So you're getting an interaction and a connection, and that's part of what helps. It's not like just some animals you don't have as big of a connection with an insect maybe or something else, but our domestic animals will connect with us. They look in our eyes and they love us, and they reflect a lot of wonderful qualities that devotion and faithfulness.
Yes, yeah. I think, and so we're talking tonight just about therapeutic aspects of having a pet, and the potential of pets being in different medical settings to help, to just help with the healing, I saw a commercial a few days ago where the little girl, I think it was Children's Hospital of Atlanta, and the little girl was going through maybe some type of therapy, and the nurse walked in and she said she just stuck her arm out. They were so used to just getting shot up with needles. I don't know if you've seen that commercial, but they were just so used to getting shot up that she stuck her arm out and just said, "Give it to me." And she said, "Nope, we're going to try something different." And when that dog walked in the living room, in the hospital room, she jumped up, and her whole face. Have you seen that commercial?
I have. She practically melted. She was so sweet. I think it was the same one. She's like, "Oh yes," and she was just hug that dog. That is the experience that I've seen over and over. And I want to be sure to be clear too. It's not just dogs or just cats. I have so many different types of animals that I found and that I wrote about in this book that you'd be so surprised that help children.
So let's talk about the book. Let's dig into the book a little bit, because I want people to start looking at purchasing this book and getting a better understanding of therapeutic animal scenery, because we've always looked at it from, health coaching or psychology, psychiatrists. We've always looked at it from a human perspective. But, like you said, it's not for everyone. Therapeutic animals aren't for everyone. I've heard of parrots being therapeutic. I mean, I have, and I want to say that I have a friend, or had a friend who had a parrot that was therapeutic. But this parrot used to sing, and the songs were taught by the owner, but the parrot would sing to the owner. Oh yes, there was a friend of mine, actually a coworker of mine, and whenever the owner would get upset, the bird would say, "Holly girl, Holly girl." And so while we were working, I would always address her in the meetings as Holly girl. So yeah, parrots as well. And so tell us about the book and other animals that you reference in the book.
Sure. And you mentioned parrot, and a lot of senior assisted living and Alzheimer care homes and units and hospitals have an aviary, because birds are very helpful for people with Alzheimer's. And it's something about the flight and also the sounds, the chirps and the songs that they make that can be very helpful for people with Alzheimer's. So that's just another way. But I do have a bird in the book. It's a dove named Cloud. And Cloud is wonderful because not that many children get to meet a dove. And she goes to schools. She has a little, they call it a flight vest. And she wears this little vest, and they attach a leash to it so that they can keep her near. And they carry her in a little basket, and the kids can meet her and learn all about her and the way that just more about how she behaves, such as a lot of children want to put out a finger for the bird to perch on it, but doves don't perch like that. So they learn how to hold the dove and how to pat it with two fingers nice and gently. And so that is one way. It's an actual therapy dove. We also have a couple of horses in the book. One is a miniature horse named Magic, who belongs to a larger organization called Gentle Carousel, and they're located in Florida. And the horse this miniature horse, just a beautiful horse, and there's, I think, about 19 or 20 in the organization. And they live outside in natural life, a herd of horses. They have a beautiful home there where they can run and live like natural horses. And then when they go to work as a therapy animal, oftentimes they go inside hospitals to the intensive care units where the children are either receiving treatments for cancer or traumatic brain injuries or other very serious illnesses. Okay. And the horse just goes right up to them. They, if they're able to, they can take their wheelchair out and walk around the halls with the lead line, leading the horse around. And they just do wonderful work with children everywhere and adults. They go very many places, and they even they help after hurricanes and tragedies and terrorism. They were at Sandy Hook after the school shootings, and they just give so much comfort to children. And because they're very well trained, they go inside libraries, schools, hospitals, and many other places. So they're pretty amazing.
That's amazing too. So we're talking about the book. The book is entitled "The Dog in the Dentist Chair." What do you want people to get out of reading the book?
Well, the reason I wrote it was I really hoped that children would read it, and first that they would learn about these animals and learn how animals are, they're one of God's creatures, and they're just not just pets, but they can be very valuable to us as far as helpers, comforters, healers, and there are just so many wonderful ways that they're in tune with people and they want to help us. There's also a section in the back about how children can help animals. And then I also wanted them to see that these animals reflect a lot of qualities of God. They love us unconditionally. They protect us. They're faithful to us. And I want children to just feel a little closer to their animal friends and a little closer to God, seeing these beautiful animals and what they do for us and how God has put them here on this earth for us.
I love that analogy, Miss Peggy, and I've never really heard it put that way, but I've always said that pets have a certain loyalty that humans don't. And what you just said makes so much sense. You talked about the rescue animals, and, there's so many animals who have been abused. Mm. And those animals, I've rescued an animal, actually 2 animals, and I'll tell you, and I'm going to go into a few other of your books, but I rescued an animal, my dog, and I named her Angel. I don't know why she stuck out to me, but we ended up, I believe, she was actually taken away from us. I think someone in the neighborhood found her and took her. And then we had another dog. His name was Nemo, and you heard me talk about him at the start of the show. Well, Nemo actually came out of nowhere. And when you talk about an angel, when Nemo walked up to my door, and I didn't know, we know our neighborhood pretty well, and I didn't know where this dog came from. And what I found is that the dog was my neighbor's dog, and I'm really close with her, but she only had 2 big dogs and a few cats. Her mom took sick and had to go to a nursing home, and she ended up inheriting her 2 animals, the cat and the dog. Well, Nemo was on to his next life, if I can say that. Nemo was actually on to his next life, and he kept coming to the door. And, I always said he probably knew the need of our home at the time, and he came at the most perfect time. So I said, if he comes to the house again, we're going to keep him. So I'm coming down the road one day, and who's following my car? He was relentless. He was a small little doggy, but he was relentless. And who's following the car? And so I go over to my neighbor. I said, Christina, I said, Nemo's at the car, following the car again. And she said, do you want to keep him? Because she had so many animals in the house. She said, do you want to keep him? And so we had Nemo for maybe a good 5 years. And he started running away again. And when he ran away to another home, which was in the neighborhood. But he did it the same way he did us. And I said, I believe that Nemo knows the need of this house, because he kept doing it. It was almost like the kids were older, my kids were older, I'm traveling more, and it was like his job was done there. And he kept going to this other house, and I found out that the house that he was going to, the young lady that he kept going to was in a domestic violent relationship. She was in a relationship that she was being beat. And when I told her finally she was bringing Nemo home, and I did exactly what my neighbor did for me, I said, do you want to keep him? And she just cried. She said, I need him. And she didn't realize it. But dogs have a sense, like you said. Animals, not just dogs, but animals have a sense. And you have a book, and it's called Heart to Heart, Hand and Paw. And it's how one woman found faith and hope, the healing love of animals. And I believe that that's what Nemo was doing.
Right. I definitely believe it, because some dogs, and I would say not all of them, but some dogs sense who needs them. They pick you rather than you picking them. And they, I have a shirt that says, be the person your dog already thinks you are, because your dog just believes in you and feels like you are that most special, amazing, wonderful person, and they just want to help you, and they want to be with you.
Wow.
I think people really need to do better for them, to not just treat them like this inconvenience in their home, but to give them, I guess I would say that's another thing I would hope that kids could understand that we need to not just give them food and shelter, but they need mental stimulation. They need to be played with. They need to be loved. They need to go out on walks. You can't just keep them in a room forever. That would be not a great life for them. So, there's a lot to consider.
Now, you're just segueing right into the book. But you just segue into my next book. And we're going to talk about this because of the pandemic and how many people have probably picked up some weight during the pandemic. Not everyone's like me. As soon as it started, I started working out even more just because I knew that first day was hard for me, Miss Peggy. I was in the house working from home, and I was in my kitchen nonstop. And I realized I ate 6 meals that day. And I said, whoa. So let's talk about the Dieting with My Dog Guide to Weight Loss and Maintenance. What about dogs in the pandemic? I mean, how are people supposed to care for the dogs in the pandemic? And talk a little bit about the book.
Well, fortunately, walking your dog is one thing you can do during the pandemic. So that's a bonus right there. But yes, we do tend to put on weight. I work from home, and I've got a small house, and my desk is I've counted it, 8 steps away from the refrigerator. So it's many a trip. And I had, at the point when I wrote this book, I had realized that, my dog had put on a little weight. I took the dog to the vet. She's a little spaniel mix, like a Cocker Spaniel size. And the vet said, if she keeps on gaining weight, she's going to get heart disease and high blood pressure and diabetes and all these things. And I just thought that's what my doctor's telling me. It's what I'm doing in my bad habits. I'm not exercising and I'm eating and I'm giving her table scraps and treats. And, I treat myself. I treat my dog because I love my dog. And, food is love, right? So I give her a little treat, and basically, if I needed to help her, I had to help both of us. So she became my motivation, and we would watch what we ate together, and if she could do it, I could do it, and we would start exercising more and getting out and finding healthier treats. And actually, dogs love bananas and blueberries, and there's several types of fruit that are good for dogs, and carrots. So it worked out great. And it's a little hard. I must admit that some of it has come back for me. So it's a lifetime struggle, I think, that I have to always work on. But it's one way in which dogs can be our diet buddies, our workout pals.
I like that. You've brought so much to life for me personally, and I pray that the same thing is happening for the listeners. I know that we take for granted the little 4-legged animals that we have going around us. And there are some animals that are just kind of walking the streets too, because I've seen a lot of cats in my neighborhood. I've seen a lot of dogs. I don't see a lot of stray, on the highway anymore, but there are so many animals that are probably kind of abandoned, especially during the pandemic if you don't have the money to feed. But you shed so much light and brought awareness to the type of therapy that dogs and animals alike can offer us. What words of encouragement before we go? What words of encouragement would you give our listeners tonight? Just whatever from your heart.
Well, I would like to encourage people to treat animals with dignity, with humanity, and to treat them with love, because that's what they give us to really take care of our animal friends, our wild animals and our pets, and to just to know that they're here for us, and that how we treat them is a real reflection as to the love that we have. I feel like a lot of times God uses animals to remind me of how he's working in my life. I'll see a bird or I'll see an animal, and I'll feel a a special message that animal's teaching me. And so when I write about it, I like to share it with others, and then they can read it and they could say, I've had an experience like that, or that means something to me, and help to point them towards how God has given us these animals to cherish and to love.
I love that. And you just reminded me, I'm a singer, also a professional singer, an artist. And in the morning I go out to have my coffee. I remember a few years ago when I was going to work, I just hear the birds sing. I heard the birds singing. And I said, wow, how amazing is it that I have an opportunity to be sung to? And I didn't take that for granted. I said, I sing for so many people. But when you said what you said, and I have a tendency to sit on my back porch, and I will post this every now and then, just a short snippet of a video of me sitting out back and how I have my own concert while I have my cup of coffee. So I appreciate you so much for reminding us how we need to be really treating the animals around us, and how much love and compassion we should have, and also equating it to the love that God has for us. Where can the listeners find you, Miss Peggy?
Well, you can check on my website, which is peggyfrezon.com. I'm on Facebook. Peggy Frezon Books is my Facebook page, and I'm on Instagram and Twitter, but I have to say I don't do them as much as I should, but I'm going to start trying to get back into it. It's just hard to get to everything, I'm sure, as you know.
Yeah.
And the books are on Amazon, so you can always put my name in on Amazon and find all my different books there. Or you could check at your favorite bookstore, and they could hook you up.
Yes, definitely. And I love your website. I love everything about what you're doing, and I'm definitely going to be sharing your information with a lot of my dentist friends and my healthcare friends as well, because I do think that this is something that's kind of just, taken for granted, like I said. So I appreciate you teaching us and bringing awareness to us tonight. I have one more question for you, and since you have not been on the show, I won't do you like I do everyone else. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to cheat. At the end of every show, we ask our guests, do you feel the power? I say that 3 times. Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? And you're going to say, I feel the power. Okay. All right. Miss Peggy, I have one more question for you before you go. Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power?
I feel the power.
Thank you so much, Miss Peggy.
Wake up for that.
Oh, they're comforted. They're comforted. Thank you so much. Please go out and visit the website again, so that you guys know it's Peggy Frezon. That's FREZON.com. All the books and the information that you need to know is there. Go on to Amazon and make sure that you support. And also the awareness that she brought to us tonight regarding the animals in therapy. I pray that it bless you and that you do see, just like she said, all of what the animals that you guys have, you start to begin to see them, how God created them, and how God has put his love in them as well. That is Jerry Royce Late Night with Jerry Royce and your co-host Shay Samuel. Shout out to my sisters Paula G, Lakeisha Mosley, and all of the other radio podcasts on Positive Power, XXI. We love you.
All right, family, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Miss Peggy, for sharing all your knowledge about pets. She said a lot of stuff I didn't know. Batman didn't know. Stuff that we can share on Positive Nation TV with Skeet Jones is coming, y'all. That's right, we got authors being part of it. That's right, we got to teach people how to take care of the animals. That's right, all about the science of the world. All right, everybody, that's the end of our show. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm Jerry Royce Live Worldwide, a.k.a. the Batman of Charm City. Thank you so much for tuning in. You catch the show on Spotify, iHeart, and of course, pray.com. Don't forget also you get on Spreaker Radio, and just follow us on our Facebook page. Catch all of our shows, all of our podcasts, all the triple podcasts, Monday through Thursday on Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Facebook page. Take care, everybody. Have a good night. God bless.
You're listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
Hey, my name is Davis and I'm from Haiti, but I live in Dominican Republic. I'm here, Positive Power 21, Jerry Royce Live Worldwide.
Can you feel the power? Can you feel the power? Feel the power of Double X.